So Mingmei has crossed into a book. She comes from a post-apocalyptic world. She has become a resident of an ancient palace. 10-year-old Miss Jai. Her story begins with her father's disappearance. Her elder brother has a broken leg. Her concubine sister has been granted white spirit. She wakes up to find her family raided and exiled. A group of officers in golden cloaks and swords at their waists. They burst into this century-old aristocratic mansion. They shatter the tranquility over the palace. The Emperor Jin Wuwei is a terrifying figure. Since the founding of the Tianshan Kingdom, her presence sends shivers down the spines of many. The leader in a golden cloak draws his long knife. His blade is raised to the sky. The sharp blade glitters in the sunlight, reflecting fierce red and white light. The words "kill without mercy" resonate, spoken through clenched teeth, imbued with a strong scent of blood and menace. Once these words are uttered, everyone realizes that British martial arts are likely doomed. Mingmei's thoughts linger. Shao Mingmei, don't frighten me now. Su Mingmei snaps back to reality. Her voice sounds weak. She's like a little kitten. I'm fine, Su Mingmei said, furrowing her lovely little brow, though there's a hint of worry. Her head aches painfully. She touches her forehead with her little hand, finding that her hand is covered in blood. A drop of blood sinks into the red mole on her palm. It feels as if something has been awakened. A faint glow flashes by. Then, Su Mingmei feels her palm, which suddenly becomes fiery hot. The red mole in the little girl's palm seems to have swollen with blood. It becomes vibrant and glowing. The next moment, Su Mingmei's vision goes dark. She feels a dizzying spin. She vaguely hears a woman's startled scream. Strangely enough, Su Mingmei did not faint as she had imagined. When she opened her eyes again, the scene before her was completely different. Su Mingmei couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Her space had actually traveled with her. Not long before the end of her previous life, Su Mingmei had unexpectedly awakened her portable space. After the apocalypse, Su Mingmei collected even more supplies. She even obtained items that were unavailable before the end, including restricted weapons. Now, as 10-year-old Su Mingmei, she looked at her precious space filled to the brim. It felt like she was surveying her own empire. The delight on her little face was undeniable. It was wonderful. As long as she had her space, she was confident she could survive the journey of exile. She believed she could protect herself and everyone in the Duke of England's household. As the spatial energy faded away, Su Mingmei found herself lying in bed. It was already getting dark outside. Candles had been lit in the original owner's boudoir. Only one maid was guarding the bedside. When she saw Su Mingmei open her eyes, the maid burst into tears of joy. "Little miss, you finally woke up." It turned out that the original owner had a frail little body and couldn't withstand the energy fluctuations from the space. When Su Mingmei entered the space, her body fell into a coma. "I was asleep for several hours," she said. "What is going on in the mansion now?" Maid Lingling had never seen her young lady like this before, and was momentarily stunned by the sight. She didn't even have time to wipe her tears. Involuntarily, she replied, "Little miss, you have been unconscious for almost 3 hours. The Emperor has ordered a siege against the Duke of England's mansion." People are saying that Beiyu suffered a significant defeat this time. Those people are saying Beiyu faced a significant defeats this time. It was because the Duke of the State left behind decisions made in error that led to the deaths of 100,000 soldiers. The Duke of the State went missing on the Nordic battlefield. He was rendered as if he were dead. He fled in fear of punishment. The prince returned from the battlefield with both legs broken. The imperial concubine was also unfairly blamed and lost favor. As Yu Mingmei's little hands clenched into fists, she knew what that group of Jin Wuwei was searching for. They were looking for evidence of the British Duke colluding with foreign enemies, which led to the great defeat of Beiyu. The evidence of the deaths of 100,000 soldiers. What is the truth behind the great defeat at Beiyu Pass? What's more important is that Zhang Tian is also wary of his position. The influential British Duke. In the original story, after tonight, the concubine would perish by a white silk. He left a note, confessing his sins, hoping the emperor would pardon the British Duke for his own death. That would be a cruel way to spare the British Duke's family. Is this what it means to be an emperor? While reading the book, Yu Mingmei only thought that it was a sweet and intoxicating romance novel. She focused only on the entangled emotions between the protagonists, and on the steamy rivalries. But when she found herself in the story, she felt a chill run down her spine. Tonight was the night of Concubine Su's demise. It was already nightfall. He had no time to waste. He had to save Concubine Su, the woman who looked just like his modern-day sister, the CEO, the one who looked exactly the same. Leader. Listen. You know, I hit my head, too. I was unconscious for several hours. Actually, while I was unconscious, I came across a divine being. In ancient times, people believed in ghosts and gods, and revered the immortals. Su Mingmei had already planned for this. Use this set of rhetoric to deceive the personal maids and others. Otherwise, the personality difference between her and the original owner is too great. And there is the space, such a miraculous thing, which is being referred to as a monster. What to do? It's like a deity. As Yu Mingmei nodded, earnestly, the fairy grandfather said, Our British Duke's mansion is wronged. The defeat of Beiyu is not father's fault. But the emperor will issue an order to confiscate our mansion tomorrow morning. The entire Su family is to be sentenced to exile. The concubine's sister will also die tonight. Grandpa Fairy couldn't bear to see the innocent Su family destroyed. So he took me as his disciple in a dream, and taught me some spells to help me save my family. You stay outside and guard. No one is allowed to enter. Even if they find out I am not in the room, they must not panic or make noise. Do you understand? Luckily, I have the 5 elements technique. This earth escape technique is truly useful. The little girl gazed toward the palace. I'm coming to the palace. Little concubine. Your imperial concubine. The hour has come. It's time to set out. 2 eunuchs held white silk in their hands, approaching the stunning woman in palace attire step by step. Su Mingfeng had her own suspicions about the imperial concubine. Her beautiful eyes were cold and captivating. Yan knew theirs. This palace demands to see the emperor. This is the emperor's command. I humbly ask you not to make it difficult for the servant. Oops! Su Mingmei hid and sought refuge, avoiding the palace maids, eunuchs, and Lin Zhong. She finally arrived at Fengyi Hall. But the floor in Fengyi Hall was laid with white jade. When the radiant little head popped out of the ground, a bump appeared on her forehead. The little girl had a white jade break on her head. She lifted her hands up, revealing a delicate, fair little face. She was slightly dazed from the impact. Her little head shook a few times. Only then could she clearly see the scene in front of her. A stunning woman in work clothes. She looked like a swan about to take flight. The jade-like hand tried to remove the white collar wrapped around her neck. She struggled desperately. Her breathing became labored. Her face turned red. This was an attempted murder. Su Mingfeng had no strength to fight back at all. This provoked Su Mingmei's righteous anger. Without a second thought, she shouted in her childish voice, Let her go. That girl, like a groundhog, suddenly popped up from the ground. With a fiery shout, Su Mingmi was clearly startled. 2 eunuchs even slowed their movements. They asked, in surprise, "Who are you?" She replied angrily, "Your aunt." As Su Mingmei's sudden appearance interrupted the murderous thrill of the 2 eunuchs. But the exquisitely beautiful girl stirred some wicked thoughts in them once more. Killing one is still killing. Killing 2 is also killing, no matter how this little girl showed up. Witnessing their plot to kill the imperial concubine, they decided to eliminate her too. One eunuch said. The other eunuch exchanged a knowing glance. His voice was soft and sinister. "Shaokuzi, go deal with that little girl who doesn't know her place." The eunuch named Shaokuzi smiled as he walked toward Su Mingmei. Now, Su Mingfeng had a chance to catch her breath, kicked away the eunuch controlling him. "Ah, little sister, hurry and escape." This doesn't need Su Mingfeng to say. How could he allow the pervert to catch him? Su Mingmei felt embarrassed, took out the charging scooter from her space. Su Mingmei was nimble, like a mischievous kid, riding the scooter, dashing around in Fangi Hall, while dodging the eunuch trying to catch her, making a grimace at the little button, accompanied by playful music.
Compared to me.
Su Mingmei. She was like a slippery little loach. The little eunuch was completely toyed with by Su Mingmei. Not even a corner of her clothes was touched. Not to mention, always tripping over sudden potholes on the ground, or things like vines, causing her to stumble and fall. She was left embarrassed and chaotic from the antics. Another eunuch looked at his companion and said, "Can't even deal with a little girl." He whispered a curse, calling him useless. He's even smaller than the little button. Clearly, he has to be much more ruthless. He lifted his cuffs, flinging out a few silver needles, shimmering with a ghostly light. As Su Mingfeng's pretty face changed slightly, she shouted loudly, "The silver needles are poisonous! Get away!" Immediately after, Su Mingfeng lunged forward, shielding Su Mingmi. The needles were coated with a deadly poison. The poison acted quickly. Su Mingfeng pushed her away with one hand. Her voice is hoarse. "Mingmi, you need to go quickly. Don't worry about hiding. Just escape." Su Mingmi shook her head. Her big eyes were wide. "Sister, I won't leave. I am here to save you." You hold on to Su Mingmei's delicate, fair fingertips. A drop was condensed and diluted. It still glowed with a faint purple, golden light. She secretly brought it to Su Mingfeng's lips. "You will definitely be all right." In the next moment, as Su Mingfeng coughed up a mouthful of dark red blood, bizarrely vivid. "Let's send the imperial concubine on her way first." A man, in black, with a mask, suddenly broke through the palace roof. Glazed tiles fell from above. A shimmering blade pierced from behind, striking through the heart. Before the murdered eunuch fell, he struggled to turn around. Widening his eyes, he pointed a finger in disbelief. He pointed at the man in black and said,
You.
"Bang!" His body fell straight down. No more sounds. Then the masked man sheathed his sword. He knelt on one knee, I am sorry. Miss. Ling Feng has arrived late. Sister Ming Mei watches you leave. After you leave, I will depart with Ling Feng. She stood up and walked to the ornate palace lantern. She took a candlestick out from the lampshade. It was slightly tilted. She ignited the curtains in Fangi Hall. The woman, in work attire, had a cold elegance. Since we are leaving, there is nothing worth keeping in Fengyi Palace. Only in this way can Zheng Tianyi believe him. As Yu Mingfeng died in this fire, it is time for us to go as well, to ensure Su Mingfeng's safety, after being rescued by Yi Lingfeng. Although Su Mingmei escaped through the tunnel of Fangliu Hall, she did not leave the palace immediately. Emperor Gu had issued a decree concerning her family. Tomorrow, the entire Duke of Britain's household will be exiled to the wilderness of Beijing. It is not easy to come to the palace. Before leaving, she had to take full advantage of the situation. As Yu Mingmi admitted that she felt the urge to act, she first headed to the Empress Dowager's palace. In the Siam Palace of Queen Mother Reed, there were plenty of valuable treasures there. Su Mingmei quietly snuck into the Siam Palace. She gazed at the glittering gold ingots in the palace's storeroom. The boxes were overflowing with them. Pearls, agate, and jade scattered on the ground. A blood coral tree stood, reaching half a person's height, and various precious medicinal herbs were stored in the bath box, such as the finest snow lotus among thousand-year ginseng, 500-year-old polygonum, multiflorum. Tears trickled down her cheeks, uncontrollably. As Yu Mingmi had become quite adept at gathering supplies, her little hands reached for the gold and jewels in the storeroom. With a gentle wave, all the treasures were swiftly collected. Returning to her room, "Do you think I am heartless?" Queen Mother Reed gazed into her mirror. She brushed her cold, ornate mask against her face. "But I feel deep resentment. That wretched concubine Lan. If she hadn't taken away the late emperor's exclusive favor, how could I have been left alone in my prime, endlessly returning to an empty home? Which woman does Duke Hu not incite hatred in? So his son must perish." How terrible! Little Su Mingmei clenched her fists. How did this baby hear that? Then, I absolutely cannot stand by idly. Su Mingmei took out from the Empress Dowager's storeroom the smoke she had casually pilfered in a small bamboo tube. As Yu Mingmei pinched her nose and lit it, she gently poked it through the window paper. She blew the resulting white smoke inside. Before long, the smoke began to take effect. Queen Mother Reed let out a soft yawn. She said she was tired. She waved her hand, signaling the maid to withdraw. Soon, she turned off the lights and went to bed. As Yu Mingmei moved quietly, making her way to the edge of the bed, she imitated a cat's meow twice. Seeing that Queen Mother Reed didn't wake up, she chuckled to herself. Then, as if performing a magic trick, she pulled out an electric hair clippers. With a few swift moves, she shaved Queen Mother Reed's head, completely bald, with the moonlight as her guide. As Yu Mingmei admired her handiwork, looking at Queen Mother Reed's bald head, she nodded in satisfaction. "You've gone bald but grown stronger. You had no choice before. But I hope you'll be a good person from now on. Start fresh." As Yu Mingmei put the glass palace lamps onto the embroidered screen, she also took the treasures from Doubao Pavilion and the antique vase on top. Even the tables, chairs, benches, and beds were taken. They were all moved away. She was indeed a professional at looting. Finally, as Yu Mingmei arrived at the Dog Emperor's Longqian Palace, to her surprise, the heroine was there too. I can finally marry you openly." As Yu Mingmei was speechless. "Well, this baby is blind." After raiding the emperor's small treasury, she ran to the palace's medicinal herb garden. She wreaked havoc on all the precious herbs, even the ones being cultivated in the garden. were pulled out by their roots, mud and all. She transplanted them into her empty space. Then, as Yu Mingmai changed into the clothes of a eunuch she had encountered, successfully sneaked into the imperial kitchen. Steamed pastries and noodles are cooking in the steamer. Various nourishing soups are simmering on the stove, so the master can enjoy whatever he desires at any time. Has. Tears streamed from the corners of Su Mingmei's eyes, helplessly. The rouge goose jelly looks incredibly delicious. Collect the sugar and prepare crispy pastries. Gather the finest ingredients. The bird's nest porridge continues to cook. Even the steamed buns, meant for the palace maids and eunuchs. She savored everything, all freshly steamed and piping hot. Once stored in her space, she can enjoy them at any time. It is simply delightful. Oh, where's my stewed bird's nest? It was just here. How did it suddenly disappear? Did someone steal it? What audacity! That was for the Queen Mother. My ginseng chicken soup is missing too. And also, even the sausages hanging from the beams are gone. Could our imperial kitchen be haunted? No one noticed. As Su Mingmei slipped away in the chaos, she took a bite of a bun and left. The imperial kitchen holds great secrets and fame. The palace was nearly emptied by her. As Yu Mingmei finished gnawing on the bun, she clapped her hands and glanced at the sky. She thought it was about time to wrap things up. But she was really unfamiliar with the palace. She originally intended to leave the palace. But somehow, she ended up in the cold palace and witnessed a scene of violence. A eunuch knocked a brocade-clad boy unconscious from behind and pushed him into a well. This eunuch clearly had never killed anyone. His hands and body trembled with fear. He knelt at the edge of the well, kowtowed a few times, and quickly said, "Your Highness, please don't blame the servant for being ruthless. If you must blame someone, blame your ill fortune. Who told you to be born from concubine Lan's womb? There's a reason for every grudge, and every debt must be repaid. After your death, you were given imperial authority. But don't take your anger out on the wrong person. If you seek revenge, go after those who truly deserve it. The target should be the Empress Dowager. It was the Empress Dowager who commanded me to do this." And then he fled without looking back. The vines entered the well as if they were alive. They wrapped around the waist of the boy who had fallen in. They pulled him up from the ancient well. The boy was laid on the ground, strewn with dead branches and leaves. He was completely soaked. He instinctively choked out a mouthful of water. As Yu Mingmei moved gracefully forward, she approached to examine the person she had saved. "Wow! He's such a handsome little boy." From Su Mingmei's perspective, in a few more years, he'll surely be the kind of charming young man who turns heads. Su Mingmei suddenly felt it was worth her effort to save him. Otherwise, the world would have lost one handsome young man. Oh, she seems to be the son of concubine Lan, the 9th prince. I believe it is written in the original story that the late emperor often met a commoner outside the palace. He ignored her lowly status and brought her back to the palace to be made concubine Lan. From that point on, concubine Lan was favored above all others. Soon, concubine Lan became pregnant. The fortune tellers had said, if concubine Lan bore a son, he would definitely be the crown prince. Because of this prophecy, concubine Lan was secretly harmed during childbirth. Ultimately, concubine Lan passed away, leaving behind the 9th prince. Before her demise, the concubine held the late emperor's hand and asked him to take care of her child. Don't let him become the crown prince. Immortal emperor applied. After concubine Lan's death, her health steadily declined. When the 9th prince was only 8 years old, he unexpectedly passed away, leaving behind such a young boy without the ability to protect himself, all alone in the world. It can be said that, if the late emperor hadn't died so young, and if the 9th prince had already grown up, then today, The throne of the Holy Kingdom might not have even gone to Jun Tianyi. Jin Zikan suddenly coughed, waking up. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the beautiful girl, with her fair and delicate little face leaning close. Bright and crystal, clear eyes, sparkled with a hint of joy. Her tone was filled with excitement. You are finally awake. If you hadn't woken up, I was ready to give you CPR. CPR?
What's that?
Who are you? My name is Su Mingmi. He replied, in a crisp voice.
And you?
My name is Zhang Zikan. In ancient times, Zi and Chen were titles exclusive to emperors. Just looking at his name, one can tell what the late emperor expected of his son. No wonder he became a thorn in the sides of the late emperor and the queen mother. They wanted to eliminate him as soon as possible. Today, he was able to save Zhang Zikan once. But he would soon be exiled with the Duke of England. He might not be able to save him a second time. As Yu Mingmei's charming and alluring personality suddenly spoke up in a playful manner.
Hey, little cutie!
Do you want to come with me? A sudden idea struck Mingmei, and she blurted out, Come with me, little cutie. Though the Duke of England would be exiled tomorrow, it was tiring. But, at least, it wouldn't be life-threatening. The boy's beautiful cheeks puffed slightly, in seriousness. The Queen Mother Reed could no longer sit still. I can't wait to take his life. Although this time, it was Empress Dowager Reed pulling the strings. But who can say for sure? Could there also be something good about him in this? What does Brother Six mean then? Zhang Zikan casually nodded in response. He spoke with a youthful voice. I'll go with my sister.
Wow! So adorable!
Su Mingmei's eyes sparkled with delight. She couldn't help but affectionately pinch the boy's soft, delicate cheeks. I don't want to do it either. But he called me sister.
Then, let's hurry and leave.
As Yu Mingmei finally stopped her antics, she remembered that there was something important to do.
Oh, right. You need to close your eyes first. Why?
Zhang Zikan didn't understand. Just don't worry about that for now. Anyway, just close your eyes first. Hearing this, the boy's phoenix eyes flickered. With a sigh, he had no choice but to obediently close his eyes. Su Mingmei waved her small hand in front of him. After confirming that he wasn't peeking, she took Zhang Zikan's hand. Zhang Zikan felt her hand was soft and tender. He felt a little uncomfortable.
He's holding my hand.
Although the Tiansheng kingdom has an open culture, it is not as strict with women as past dynasties were. Ladies are still expected to stay within the household. But there are still conventions regarding men and women. There is a saying that men and women should keep their distance. Boys and girls of age 8 sit apart. He is already 9 years old this year. Not because girls are so affectionate. However, the girl's soft and delicate voice rang in his ears. She said, Don't be afraid. Make sure to hold my hand tightly. In the shadows, 32 caught a glimpse of Mo Zi's attire. In the dim light, he saw His Highness, the 9th Prince, suddenly vanish. He landed swiftly on the ground, with his sword. His hand touched the ground, where Zhang Zikan had just vanished. He began to explore for any hidden passages. But next to the ancient well, all there was were layers of dry branches and leaves. There was no secret passage to be found. It was time to ascertain the truth about Zhang Zikan's sudden disappearance. After the sudden vanishing, the dark mark on Mozi's clothes made his expression change completely. In rare panic, he called out,
Your Highness!
All right, you can open your eyes now. Zhang Zikan slowly opened his eyes. What he saw was a girl's boudoir. This is Su Mingmei's room. He blinked. Adjusting to the sight, Zhang Zikan's eyelashes fluttered slightly. His distinct black and white phoenix eyes showed a hint of shock. Miss, you are finally back. Then, Ling Dang saw the beautiful boy standing next to her young lady. He was a handsome boy, dressed in brocade. Miss, Who is this? Su Mingmei introduced him to Ling Dan. She is my friend, the young lady's friend, and perhaps even a fairy. I wonder how the imperial concubine is in the palace. Before she could finish her words, outside Sangha Hall, a youthful girl's voice chimed in. It was a bright and clear sound, like pomegranate flowers, blooming in the dark night. Grandma, don't worry. Eldest sister is fine. Such surprising news. Mingmei, how did you get here? As Yu Mingmei held Zhang Xikan's hand, with her little one,
sweetly calling out to him, Grandma, it is Auntie at 72.
Good child. Come here. Let Grandma have a look. I scared you today, didn't I? Madame Su hugged her little granddaughter. She looked up to see standing before her a boy with striking features. He had an air of nobility about him. She found him oddly familiar. He struck her like a flash of inspiration. Mrs. Su recognized the identity of the 9th prince. She hurriedly got up to pay her respects. I have met His Highness, the 9th prince. There's no need for such formalities. Mrs. Su, having met His Highness, please, rise, Mrs. Su said, asking, may I ask why His Highness is here? Is there a decree from the palace? The 9th prince pursed his lips slightly. He glanced at Su Mingmei's grandmother.
I brought Xiaochong back with me.
This made everyone chuckle slightly. Mingmei, don't talk nonsense. His Highness is in the palace. You've never even left the mansion. How could you possibly have brought His Highness out of the palace? Su Mingmei raised her pretty little face. She pouted her rosy lips. Feigning innocence, she said, Mom, don't underestimate me. I'm now a disciple of an immortal. Old Grandpa Xian taught me magic. Hearing that, Su Mingmei had snuck into the palace and encountered a eunuch who wanted to harm Su Mingfeng. Lan's heart clenched with worry. Your Majesty, concubine, is she all right? It looks like my beautiful mother is about to faint. Su Mingmei quickly reassured her. I'm here, don't worry. I won't let anything happen to my big sister. He's already been saved by brother Ling Feng. It's not a good time to go home now. We will meet again after some time. The old lady's kind but aged face wore a serious expression. She earnestly reminded her son and 2 daughters-in-law, Mingmei is still very young. She doesn't yet understand how serious this is. As elders, you should recognize this. In the future, we'll just have to be discreet about it. Never mention it to outsiders. We don't want to bring trouble to Mingmei. Do you understand? It's important for my daughter-in-law to know this. What happened tonight must stay between us. It ends with our lips. Please drink, Your Highness, and keep it a secret for Mingmei. Please don't worry, old lady, I won't speak a word. Mrs. Su asked Mingmei. Is it true that our Su family will be raided and exiled tomorrow? Su Mingmei nodded firmly. That is correct. The old man, in my dream, told me so. Mrs. sighed with a hint of sadness. In an instant, she seemed to age by several decades. I never expected our Su family would come to this point. He soon regained his composure. He lifted his spirits to comfort everyone. Regarding the raid, we can't take away anything from the surface. It will definitely be seized and sent to the treasury. But we can still keep our lives. Our family can still stay together. That is the greatest blessing. As my mother used to say, there are still hidden resources. As my mother mentioned, there are still things in reserve. Mrs. Yu was momentarily puzzled. Su Mingmei asked what this meant. But realizing that her granddaughter was no longer an ordinary 10-year-old, the young girl began to explain in detail. Of course. After all, our Su family has been well established since the previous dynasty. We were once wealthy merchants. Later, our ancestors fought alongside the founding emperor. During the era of great prosperity, 200 years after the founding of the nation, our Su family has thrived for 200 years. However, the late emperor was determined and wanted to eradicate the South family, regardless of what was known or hidden. Even the dowries of your mother and second aunt I'm afraid it will be difficult to protect them. But that might not be the case for Su's mother. Su Mingmei smiled, slyly. Her beautiful eyes sparkled with light. Thinking this, Su Mingmei picked up an apple from the fruit plate on the table. She intended to do this in front of Mrs. Sa. Put her into the space.
Well, I thought about it. But then, I realized the apple is too small.
It doesn't create a strong visual impact. Fortunately, the fruit platter and pastries were included in the space along with the table. What's happening here? Were you taught this by an immortal? He nodded adorably. Yes, yes, the fairy grandfather said. We are innocent of crimes related to British Kung Fu. It is completely unfair to confiscate our property. So he taught me some little spells. So I could take everything from the mansion. Oh, right. I can also turn the table back to its original form. Oh,
Saying this,
Su Mingmei waved her little hand. The table reappeared in its original spot. Mrs. Sa originally thought that, this time, the entire mansion could be saved. And that would be good enough for their lives. These gold and silver assets cannot be taken away. If they are to be confiscated, so be it. Unexpectedly, his little granddaughter gave him a pleasant surprise. Come here. Good child. Grandma is telling you about the secret treasure hall of the Duke's mansion. You should take everything you can carry from inside. Lan mentioned that there were also her mother's dowry. Mingmei, you should also take it with you. That money was earned hard by your maternal family. They have never embezzled a cent from the people. Why should others benefit from it? Su Yinbai coughed a few times. Holding his wife Chu Wan's hand, he looked gently at his niece. He spoke up and requested, Mingmei, could you please help put away the things from the second room? Nothing else really matters. It's mainly your second aunt's dowry. It was left to her by her deceased mother. Su Mingmei nodded in agreement. Don't worry, I'll take them one by one. I promise not to miss a single needle or thread. The dragon-headed cane stomped on the ground. It is important to remind you, without going overboard. At least leave some behind. Otherwise, it will be tough to handle tomorrow. The Qing Wu Wei is aware of it. Clan demon. Su Mingmei took Zhang Zikan's hand. Then, I am going with Xiao Chao. Some treasures have been taken away by Su Mingmei. When they were put into her space, the area was divided. I must say, her beautiful mother and second aunt truly deserve it. One is the daughter of a wealthy merchant, and the other is a royal princess. Some treasures made her drool with excitement. The openly displayed items in the mansion were almost all collected. Su Mingmei winked at Zhang Zikan. Let's head to the next place. The Dark Treasure Pavilion holds the real treasures accumulated by the Su family for generations. It is the true location of their wealth. It is located beneath the Bible Lake in the Duke of England's manor. The rockery at the ancient and modern pavilion is the only entrance. Before entering the rockery, Su Mingmei confirmed with Zhang Zikan once more. Xiao Chao, are you really not coming down with me? He shook his head obediently. No, that's the secret area of the Duke's mansion. It wouldn't be appropriate for an outsider like me to go in. I'll just wait for my sister here. Su Mingmei reached into her space and pulled out a bag of red snacks. She stuffed it into Zhang Zikan's arms. So you just wait here for me. Okay. If you get hungry, eat some Wangzai steamed buns. They're really delicious.
Uh-huh.
The little prince nodded and grabbed a Wangzai steamed bun from Zhang Zikan. When unsure of what to do, a figure that nearly blended into the night emerged from the shadows of Moses' robes. It moved like a wisp of black smoke, drifting down from the heavens, like a dark mist. It lightly settled behind Zhang Zikan. Bows respectfully. Kneel down, on one knee. I apologize for arriving late. Please forgive me, Your Highness. You may rise. Come here and help me open this. Anne has lost track of Your Highness. She nearly put Your Highness in danger. Such a serious dereliction of duty. It was treated so lightly. Even if accountability is sought, the one who should be punished is her. Annie couldn't help but think 2 words in her heart. Just as the little prince was eating Wang Zai's steamed buns, Su Mingmei had already arrived at the Dark Treasure Pavilion established under Hu Xingting. Accumulated wealth over 100 years. It is truly astonishing to behold. To the point of being dumbfounded. Even the ground beneath her feet was scattered with gold and gems. Because the British martial arts wield power. Throughout history, British scholars have been skilled fighters. The Dark Treasure Pavilion also houses numerous famous weapons and artifacts. There are also several tokens, the purpose of which is unknown. Anyway, anything from the Dark Treasure Pavilion. Su Mingmei would take it all. You've kept me waiting, haven't you? Su Mingmei walked over to Zhang Zikan. Zhang Zikan shook his head. Not for long. My sister is quite swift. That was sufficient for him to instruct the purple-clad guards on some matters. Then he joined us. The Dark One hid in the shadows, protecting the little prince. Hearing Zhang Zikan refer to a little girl as sister, Dark One widened his eyes in surprise. Nearby, the branches rustled softly, the shadows of trees swaying. The hidden figures of the Dark Ones were almost falling one by one. Su Mingmei tilted her head in confusion. What was that sound? Don't treat me like a weak minister. The beautiful and fair cheeks breaking into a soft, cute smile. She said softly. It might be a wild cat. He had just finished speaking. Just then, a faint meow echoed through the air.
Meow.
The past flew by quickly. Su Mingmei once again sneaked outside the counter by herself. Only when Dongfeng was clever did he return home loaded with goods. This time, the Duke of England could not be charged with treason or collusion with the enemy. This was thanks to the evidence Zhang Tinyi had prepared in advance. It mysteriously disappeared.
By the order of the Emperor, it is proclaimed. Duke Su Jianbei of England was ineffective in his command. This led to the fall of the northern border. All 100,000 soldiers of the Dingbei army were wiped out. Now, he is stripped of the title of Duke of England. His family members are exiled for thousands of miles. Their assets will be confiscated to honor the heroic spirits. Let this be accepted. Madam.
Su Mingmei changed into the attire of a maid. She, along with the transformed little prince, knelt among a group of Su family members, not drawing attention. Su Mingmei secretly rolled her eyes. In a voice only 2 could hear, she whispered, disdainfully,
Go die, and then let someone else make a fuss. How absurd.
Hearing Su Mingmei's muttering, he found it quite adorable. It was like sneaking whispers during class, like gossiping about little flowers.
He whispered back. There is no choice. Thunder, rain, and dew are all part of being a soldier. It has been this way since ancient times. If the minister dies, the minister must die. Haha, this rule is utterly inhumane. Who would willingly die if they could live? Why should we be the ones to die? Dream on.
Su Mingmei continued to grumble. Yet, she was thankful that what she picked up was a darling little creature.
Fortunately, Xiao Chen, you are nothing like that. Dog of an emperor.
Zhang Zikan pursed his lips subtly. A flicker of fiery light flashed in his dark eyes.
In an almost inaudible voice, he murmured her name, Mingmei. Actually, I am not exactly a good person either. Xiao Chen, what did you just say? Nothing. Sister, the eunuch is watching us.
Upon hearing this, Su Mingmei immediately turned her head back. Be good now. Mrs. Sup stepped forward. She took the imperial edict from the eunuch, carrying the decree. Her posture was neither humble nor arrogant. Lao Shen thanks the Lord. Long An Yuan Shuli. Mrs. Su leaned on her dragon-headed cane. Dressed in a first-class imperial edict, she had been waiting for this imperial edict. He lived a proud and distinguished life.
Unbearable to be humiliated.
When the soldier stripped him of his wife's talisman, he shouted that the heavens were unfair. The Su family is innocent. And then, he crashed into a stone lion of British Kung Fu, and died. But Mrs. Su's death didn't change the fate of British Kung Fu practitioners being exiled. Now Su Mingmei is essentially saving them. As Mrs. Su had saved him from death, their family is living together well, which surely brings hope.